Hello everyone, welcome to Week 4 within the stream of this course, Business Communication 1, OTM 315. We'll be looking at writing business letters and emails in this Week 4. I am Ahmed Jonathan Agaba, your instructor and course lecturer for and in this course. Now, in writing business letters and emails, we do not just write them at random. There are required knowledge, guidelines, and skills that we need to adapt and consolidate. But taking us through that, we look at objectives. What are we expected to achieve at the end of this topic? We have to understand the purpose and structure of business letters and emails fundamentally. Okay, and then you can read through the rest of the objectives, as we proceed. But understanding the purpose and structure of business letters and emails is one aspect we'll be dealing with fundamentally and predominantly. And then, in furtherance with introduction, is that business letters and emails are essential tools for communication in the professional world. They serve as a formal means of conveying information, making requests, and building relationships with clients, colleagues, and stakeholders. Of course, in this lecture, we will explore the key elements of writing effective business letters and emails, including structure, tone, formatting, and etiquette. Now, this is more or less an overview of what writing professional emails and business letters entail. It is important to know and to note that business letters and emails have high level formal components. In fact, they are formal correspondences, if I'm to use such expression, of course. And why I say formal correspondences is that some people would want to engage correspondence like business letters and emails, for example, with such informal tone, but they are essentially formal and they are necessitated in the business world to be written without some form of prejudice, unnecessary prejudice. And they are not written without skill. There are skills and there are guidelines and principles that guides the engagement of business letters and emails. If you really need to engage communication in business, and not just communication but effective communication. Then we have sections. Of course, just going through the sections necessarily. Introduction to business letters and emails. Of course, I had to just streamline this way to give us, a spring of ideas and some form of thinking critically and out of the box. That's why I didn't stipulate this directly that way. So, definition of business letters and emails. If I am to define business letters and emails, what way do I define them? Okay, now it's simple. Business letters are formal letters that are written to achieve certain goals within the business world. So their letters, formal letters, are written to achieve certain goals within the business world, and those goals expressively are to communicate information, communicate plea, communicate ideas, and as well make requests. They could be order letter, they could be letter of complaint, or some form of review within digital media or the social media space or spaces as the case would be. So, and then emails from the word email, electronic mail. So emails are necessarily digitally supported platforms that helps convey messages that are exclusive to the receivers. When I talk about messages that are exclusive to the receivers, only the receivers have the license to receive those messages and at discretion or liberty to unveil those messages to those they want to unveil it to, particularly business organizations or formal organizations or settings, of course, schools as well. Now, you discover that a lot of people have official emails, institutions, organizations have official emails that are not open to everybody. They are rather open to their admins, who will necessarily give the report of messages received, or even PAs or secretaries who will give the report of messages received into those emails, and then, of course, give reports on what those messages are to their superiors, those within the higher cadre of authority, as the case may be, and they as well receive such information and then convey certain feedback or necessarily give instructions on how certain feedback, on those letters can be or should be. And then we have importance of effective communication in business. This cannot be overemphasized. I particularly just laid these, um, you know, topical issues, on the outline, so that you can give specific attention to them. Now, when we talk about effective communication in business, we are not just talking about communication. The essence of effective communication in business is one, to avoid confusion while communicating. On the other hand, to avoid misrepresentation of your business or brand. Either misrepresentation or misinterpretation of your business or brand. And then on the other hand, is as well to persuade. Because for every business, the customers, are necessarily the driving force of every business. In as much as communication is at the heart of every business, but the customers are the driving force of every, because if they do not exist, such business do not exist. And as well, business, like I know and understand, and by virtue of research and experience, is necessarily for impact as well for income. In fact, some school of thought say the essence of business or entrepreneurial engagements or venture is for impact, income, and influence necessarily. So that is one aspect we can look into, and then of course we can then next talk about the distinctions between um, formal and informal communication in a business setting. You can actually just get more insight as a reverse. You can get more insight into the importance of effective communication in business. So we have next distinctions between formal and informal communication in a business setting. Now, for every business, like I said, communication, if at all, it has to be official in a business, is formal. Of course, we have informal communication, which may just necessarily be maybe just random discussions among colleagues, some chit chat, and some discussion moments that are not formal, you know, and of course could demand colloquial expressions or informal expressions, with subordinates who may necessarily engage, with jokes, with their superiors, if given the chance. It's not usually automatic. If given the chance. So of course we won't describe that as formal communication. So I'm just giving this now within the confines of organizational official settings now. So of course we have it in such perspective that formal and informal communication could happen even in business setting, but it depends on the situation that permits it. It also depends on the opportunity that permits it. Okay, then we look at structure and components of business letters and emails. The second part of this session, we look at heading. The heading in a business letter or email would include sender's address, date, recipient's address necessarily, and then we have the salutation, or what you call the greeting. Some will call salutation greeting. Okay, sir, just after the heading, sir, or man necessarily. So we have the salutation, like I did say, which is also called greeting. I know some people may not have known, and if they have known, they may not have come to terms with the reality that um, within the common English structure and grammar, it is obsolete, and for some, it's becoming obsolete to add dear sir or dear ma in your salutation. After your, heading, which requires your sender's address, dates, and recipient address. That is, your own address is the sender's address, date, and then recipient address. That is the address of whom you actually are conveying or communicating such letter to, or writing such letter to, business letter to. Then you go to salutation, sir, then a comma before your heading under. Okay, or of course you could necessarily leave out heading optionally or optionally, and then if you actually writing such with a letterhead, your heading could just um, be left blank necessarily. In fact, it is in rare case for you to leave out the heading. Predominantly you have to include the heading just after salutation. Of course, that is by the way, but necessary and overly important to say the least. Now, it's either sir or ma, not dear sir or dear ma. It's not out of place if you do so, but it's obsolete, and as a matter of fact, in most places, it's becoming obsolete. Then we have the body, which details the introduction, main message, conclusion. Introduction, main message, and then conclusion. And we have the closing, of course, which exemplarily, sincerely, best regards. You just close that off. So if yours sincerely, yours faithfully, but of course, as it is commonly used, but you could just put best regards. And then you actually just make your sign, you append your signature, and then your full name on the afterwards. Of course, and that takes us to the next, like I did detail, signature printed for letters or electronic for emails. Okay, your signature can be printed for letters, okay, and then electronic for email. So you can actually scan your signature, to the letter on your email, or you can, of course, print it, necessarily for letters as it is. So it's important to follow up with these guidelines. And then we have tips for writing professional business correspondence or letters. Be clear and concise. Talked about being concise earlier. That is, you do not need volumes of information or volumes of content for you to convey your information. That may, promote boredom amongst readers, whom you're communicating such letter to. So use professional language and tone. Proofread for grammar. Address the recipient appropriately. Use a professional format and layout. And of course, we could see the number 4 subtopic, which is formatting and etiquette in business letters and emails. Okay, just look through them, use appropriate fonts and font sizes, of course, keep paragraphs, use bullet points, avoid using emojis or informal language. Of course, the emojis within our social media platforms, all of those heart, thumbs up, and all of that, they are not necessitated for official writings or emails, okay, or business writings or emails. So respond promptly to emails and letters. Of course, when it requires feedback that needs a quick response from you, having written such data, of course, when the feedback or response is given, and there is need for you to communicate or give a feedback in the immediate. It's very important. And then in conclusion, we have the fact that writing effective business letters and emails is crucial for maintaining professional relationships and conveying important information in the business world. Of course, this is part of the things we touched on, by virtue of emphasis, and why it is necessary to build up your skill for business letters, and emails necessarily. Okay, then of course your next steps, okay, by virtue of recommendation is to practice writing a business letter, review and revise your current business. We've directly talked on this one, and of course done this practically. I believe you have done this practically before now, but this is to help give you a clearer guideline and a reminder that there is need to consistently practice. We have discussion questions. Of course, I want you to please engage with discussion questions. We have quizzes. Please engage with it. We have citations for further reading and engagement.